They don't even know themselves. Apparently, if the science keeps changing, that means it could be anything. So for me, that means I should just be using my intuition and my own research and do what I feel is best for me and my body as a sovereign being who is an adult. I should be choosing, not Fauci, not the CDC, not anybody else, based on their science that can just change on a whim.
So find a way to
Hello, beautiful fellow lightworkers. My name is Monica. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is titled, "The Problem with Just Trusting the Science." So I know recently my videos have gotten a lot more serious and they're not as light and fluffy and all about the law of attraction like I usually like to talk about. Those videos are coming, don't worry, but right now I'm feeling extremely called to talk about COVID, the COVID shot, more I guess about politics and science and just the things that are currently happening in the world, like the state of, our world affairs that are affecting everybody right now. I've had a lot of personal opinions about it. I've done a lot of research about it. I've talked to a lot of friends about it. My closest friends and family know my true feelings about it, and I haven't really expressed it too much publicly on my social media, such as here on YouTube or on my Instagram. I just now recently have been starting to post more about it because, to be honest, I'm just really pissed off about what's going on in the world. And I'm definitely not okay with it. And especially for me, the last straw was hearing about things that are going on with Australia, the way that the government and the police are handling the citizens who are unarmed, who are peacefully trying to protest and speak up for their freedom. They want their freedom and their rights back. They don't want to be locked into their homes all the time. It has become a complete dictatorship, Nazi Germany, 1984, and it has to stop.
The message to the unvaccinated is that you will not achieve any further freedom unless you get vaccinated. And a further and final message to regional New South Wales. There are parts of regional New South Wales that are currently open. The 70% roadmap does apply to the whole state. So there will be individuals in regional rural New South Wales who choose not to be vaccinated who will lose their freedoms on the 11th of October. So my message to everybody in regional and rural New South Wales is to continue to get vaccinated.
I am so grateful right now that where I am in America, none of that is going on. But that doesn't mean that it won't ever happen, because they are testing this out in other countries. And I've already been seeing where the world has been going. I have been reading the conspiracy theories and researching those, and a lot of them are coming true. We're starting to run out of them. We need new ones. And I feel like, personally, I came here, my mission, I came here to be a light worker, to shine light on the darkness in the world. It's not always pleasant or comfortable or fun, but it has to be said, it has to be shown, and I'm not going to stand idly by anymore and not express my opinion and speak my truth on this. I have been thinking about this subject for a while. I want to start by saying that I am in no way, shape, or form anti-science. If you've watched my other videos, you know I'm not anti-anything. I'm going to be for something, pro something. And the funny thing is I actually think science is so freaking cool. Like, I wasn't really a science geek in school. I thought it was interesting, but science and quantum physics have actually really been able to explain a lot of what has been difficult to explain within spirituality. I have seen some incredible shows on Gaia that have used science experiments to show things like telekinesis and explain how it works, and just all kinds of science experiments that just are mind-blowing in my opinion. And in fact, when I first had my spiritual awakening and I was starting to understand the law of attraction, the way I understood it was more from a scientific perspective of how everything is energy and how all energy vibrates, and all energy that vibrates creates a frequency that goes out into the world. And that's how humans work too. Like, we're very, I don't know if it's the right word, but like electromagnetic. And we draw things and people and circumstances into our life by the frequencies that we send off. And I actually explained more of this in my earlier videos, which I think were titled something like 10 ways to raise your vibration or something like that. Because as much as I think I'm a very creative person, I'm also a very logical and analytical person. So I kind of have to see it from both perspectives to really get a good grasp on it, because something I understand intuitively is more difficult to understand without that sort of scientific approach to it. With that being said, the problem with just trusting the science, I will tell you my problem with it, and take it or leave it. But what I've been thinking about is not so much the science itself, because I think science is a great tool to explain how the world works, but it's more of the scientists that I'm questioning. I keep hearing these statements from people, I'll just trust the science, follow the science. And it's getting to a point where science is starting to sound like a religion. And I personally don't follow any religions. Spirituality and religion can be an aspect of spirituality, but spirituality doesn't have to be religious. And I don't have anything against anyone who is religious. I don't have anything against anyone's religion. I think that's great. I personally just don't follow a religion, because none of them have resonated with me. I don't feel like I fit into the mold of being able to agree with every single thing a religion has to be able to dedicate myself to it. I do have my faith. I do believe in things like angels, but I'm not religious. And I'm going to be inserting different memes throughout this video that I have been sharing in my stories on Instagram as of late, because they really make you think. At least they really made me think. And they really put things into perspective. And I tell you, some people are just so creative. And I'm going to read a post that I recently shared. And it says, "Some of you think you're listening to science when you're actually listening to paid promotional ads by trillion-dollar industries that make up their own science. And the majority of that science benefits them, not you. They have been selling you on a religion we call Scientism." It just seems like people are worshiping science, and the scientists are the priest of this religion. If I don't personally know the scientists, I don't trust them. I'm not going to put 100% of my faith in them. I'm not going to just blindly follow anything that they report, because I don't know them personally. I don't know what their intentions are. I don't know who they're working for. I don't know how much money they're getting paid to say what they're saying. I don't know if it's true or real. And I myself am not a scientist. A lot of people talk like they're scientists because they just regurgitate what scientists on TV and in the news and in magazines and these papers say. But the truth is, the majority of us aren't scientists. We can kind of follow along, but we're not doing the experiments ourselves. So how do we know what the actual results are? That's putting a lot of faith in some people you see on TV. A lot of those people are actors. I'm sure a lot of them are real scientists too, but that doesn't mean they're reporting the actual real data that they collect. We don't know what their intentions are. If you really go down the rabbit hole, or you don't even have to go that far down the rabbit hole when you're doing your own research, and you see that a lot of these papers that are published for studies such as the effect of sodas on the human body, or is soda good for you? That's just an example. If you look, that research is usually funded by a big company that's affected, such as Coca-Cola. They fund the research and they approve what data comes out. And do you think they're really going to put anything bad about it? Do you think they're going to put anything about how Coca-Cola can clean, I don't know, acid off of a battery? And therefore think about what that's doing to your insides, into your stomach, into your kidneys? There's no way they're going to publish anything that says something bad about their product, because they're all in it for the money. Multi-billion-dollar corporations, they don't care about the side effects generally. Some people within the company, sure, if they don't know what's truly going on, but the people at the top overall, they don't care. They just want more money, and they just want more control, and more money brings more control. And it's like that with so many studies that talk about how good something is, and the actual studies of the negative effects of certain products, they get buried. They have enough money to make those stories go away so that they never see the light of day. And the scientists and the doctors who have been speaking up about ill effects of the V, or they're talking about how alternative drugs that are relatively inexpensive are not harmful and actually help against COVID, those people have been suppressed and censored, discredited, called crazy, fired from their jobs. And that's another thing, like, how is it, I heard today that like 70,000 nurses and I don't know, doctors maybe got fired, or they quit from hospitals in New York because they refused to get the jab. How is it that these people were considered heroes throughout the whole pandemic, saving so many people's lives before the V ever came out, and now that it has come out and they refuse to get it, they're being fired during what's considered a crisis, a global pandemic, when they're needed still, apparently. This tells me this is not about health. This is not about caring about the safety of the people. If that were the case, why is it that they're forcing people to be locked down in Australia for their safety, but yet when they come out and try to peacefully protest their freedom, they're being shot with rubber bullets, which can really harm them if they get shot in the head, the face, the temples, somewhere really sensitive on their body? It could kill them. Or how they're beating people in the streets, elderly people too, pepper spraying them when they're already down, using extremely excessive, brutal force. By the way, this is nothing that I think is actually reported on the mainstream news, because it wouldn't go with the narrative. This is from private videos people have been capturing and sending out and trying to bring awareness to the horrific circumstances that are going on there. Since I don't watch mainstream news, I don't know what they're actually talking about. From what I've heard, I don't think it's on there. If this was truly about their safety and their health, then why are they causing more health problems to these people and causing them not to be safe? It's not like these people have guns or anything. Australia citizens don't have guns. That's an American thing, as far as I know. I don't know if any other country has it. So that's one of the main reasons why I can't just trust the science. Because when you really dig deep down and you ask a lot of questions, you can see that this is not about our health. This is not about our safety. This is not about our well-being. There's so many instances that point to that fact. And what I'm describing is just one of them. Another problem for me with just trusting the science is apparently the science just like keeps changing over and over again. So if that's the case, then the scientists and the powers that be and the government and the politicians and Fauci and everybody who's giving us all these instructions on how to live our life, it's not going to be valid always then. If they tell us one thing, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, wear a mask, don't wear a mask. They don't even know themselves. Apparently, if the science keeps changing, that means it could be anything. So for me, that means I should just be using my intuition and my own research and do what I feel is best for me and my body as a sovereign being who is an adult. I should be choosing, not Fauci, not the CDC, not anybody else, based on their science that can just change on a whim. Then that means they never have to admit fault to being wrong because, well, oh, the science changed. That to me makes absolutely no sense. If it was more of a guideline and they were just suggesting it as a one possibility of something you could do, but the fact that they act like it's one of the laws of the universe that you must follow because they're smarter than you, they're smarter than all of us, they know everything, they're God, I don't agree with that. And that brings me to another quote I'm going to read now that I shared recently. Trust the science. The science keeps changing into what we have been saying the entire time. I trust the experts who proudly spoke up and went to jail for speaking truth last year. You didn't know that? That's because the media doesn't want you to know the truth. And some of my other questions are, if science is so amazing, and there's all these breakthroughs in technology, and there's all these new medicines that keep coming out, why is it that people are getting sicker and sicker every single year? Why are more people dying from diseases than ever? Why are people more obese and morbidly obese than ever if science just fixes everything because we're so advanced now? That tells me something isn't working, and that makes me question and not just trust the science. Science and the advancements in technologies are supposed to make everyone's life easier, supposedly. And yet, people are more depressed, stressed, and suicidal than ever, which means that science, the almighty science, is not the answer to everything. And in fact, a lot of the so-called food in the stores that's overly processed with all these chemicals and weird dyes and artificial whatever in them are basically science experiments as well. And I always thought about this quote or something I heard once before about, like, if you eat food that is created in a lab with men in white coats, basically scientists, then you're going to end up having to see men in white coats later on for your health, meaning the doctors. That gave me a very good mental image of the correlation between the two, even though I already kind of knew it. And from what I understood from school, from what I could remember about science and hypotheses, the whole step-by-step process, that you have to do a lot of experiments usually to come up with a conclusion, but a lot of times you mostly get a hypothesis. There's some hypotheses, big ones, that haven't actually been proven, but they've been accepted as if they're the end-all be-all conclusion. Is that other scientists and other people should question the data, the science, the experiments, recreate them for themselves. Not just blindly accept whatever the scientist says the result is. And the fact that social media is censoring so many people for questioning the science, for questioning the data, for doing their own experiments and coming up with different results, for speaking up for what they believe, all of a sudden are getting censored left and right, suppressed, videos being removed, posts being removed, deleted, always having these little fact-checking captions at the bottom. You know what's funny is that we never needed fact checkers before the truth started coming out. That's the only difference right now. Because there are a lot of people awakening, but we still need more people awakened to be able to fight this spiritual World War III on consciousness. And I feel it. I feel like I'm in the middle of a battlefield. Even though technically everything around me physically is peaceful. Everything's going great. Nothing's really changed. That's why it's a spiritual, conscious war. And that's another thing too, is how do we just blindly trust fact checkers? Where are these people getting their facts? And why do I have to accept it as fact if it doesn't resonate with me? If it doesn't feel right or to be true to me, or if I have a different experience? That was one of the major issues in school, is that education doesn't teach you how to think for yourself. It doesn't teach you how to question things. It teaches you how to just blindly accept random facts and history or his story and just regurgitate them, memorize everything and just regurgitate it back. And the whole goal, or one of the goals, is to be like smarter than everybody else in the class. Not everyone, but like a lot of times they make it seem, there's this like kind of unspoken thing of like, you don't want to be stupid, you want to fit in, you want to be smart. And so that's where the brainwashing and the programming comes in, and the conformity of trying to be just like everyone else and not stick out, not ask questions, just memorize, regurgitate, accept. And a lot of the people and the students who are the most accepted and who are the most glorified are the people who get the best grades and who can memorize the most facts from school, from textbooks. These people are regarded as smart. I was one of them. I was a little bit above average, I would say, with my grades and everything. I wasn't like one of the super smart kids, but I really put a lot of effort in because I really wanted to please my teachers and I really wanted to please my mom. I wanted to please everybody around me and impress them. And this was all a part of my ego. I feel like a lot of education is very ego-based, about getting that praise and recognition for conforming, for being the most brainwashed and most programmed. And the further up you go in school, the more programming there is. And I'm not trying to talk bad about people who've gotten education. My intention is not to try to say that they're not good people or anything like that. I'm sure a lot of them have really great intentions and are good people. I'm just talking about the system in itself. And the teachers as well. I don't want to seem like I'm putting down teachers. I think teachers are great. They are needed. I did learn a lot in school. If I didn't, I wouldn't be able to make videos because I wouldn't know grammar or how to talk or anything like that, or how to read. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of valuable things you learn in school. But my point is that we stop questioning. When we're kids, we question everything. Kids are always asking a million questions all the time. But as they get older and as they get more indoctrinated, they've learned to stop asking. We as adults learn to stop asking. And we just trust these authority figures. How are they even authority figures? How do these people even get put in place? They don't have an authority over me and my body. I'm sorry, no, they don't. They don't have authority over my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs either. Just take everything with a grain of salt. And I form my own. That should be part of being an adult and a sovereign being, is having the freedom to be allowed to form your own thoughts, beliefs, and opinions. But even now, that seems like it's becoming illegal. That's definitely 1984. Because if they're suppressing so much and censoring the truth, or other people's versions of the truth, people who think outside the box and question the narrative, they get shut down. So with science, if you can't question, or you can't recreate an experiment, or you can't debate it, then that's not true science to me. That's one thing I did learn about science, is you're supposed to be able to question it. And if we can't do that now, and we're only being told one side of the story, then we're being lied to. Everyone, especially here in America, where we're supposed to have freedom of speech, that should include online freedom of speech, should be able to speak up their own thoughts and opinions and debate the so-called science and the scientist and the data. Because I have seen some impressive documentaries, some impressive research from people who aren't scientists or doctors or anything like that. It doesn't make them any less smart. It doesn't make them any less capable. Everybody has their own individual, unique gifts and talents. and different ways of explaining things, different ways that they see the world and understand it. And that's why we need so many people speaking up. We need so many teachers, because you may hear it from one person, but it doesn't make sense until you hear it from someone else in a different way. So everyone's voice matters and is important equally. And I just want to end this video with, as much as science is great, in my opinion, and I do appreciate it, it has its place. It's not the end all, the be all. It's not everything that we need to know. It's not just simple facts. It's not all black and white, cold hard data. I believe we really, really need to get back in touch with nature. I don't believe medicine and doctors are going to solve everything. I think it's going to be natural, whole plant foods. I think it's going to be getting outside and getting fresh air, getting more sleep, more rest when we're tired, stressing less, trying to subside some of that fear and anxiety. And with the mainstream media and the current state of the world around us, that's not helping that. That's creating more fear and anxiety by 24/7 news constantly telling you to be afraid of something. It's exhausting, especially when you actually pay attention to it. I don't pay attention to it, but I still get little tidbits of things from other people's research typically. And I'm able to compare and contrast, which is helpful. But I don't consume into it. I don't turn on the news. I don't listen or read. I just don't pay attention to it as much as possible. It's not healthy. It's not helping. It's doing the very opposite. So please, I encourage everyone, get into nature, go for a walk, go for a park in any capacity that you can where you live. I know it's not easy for everyone, such as the people in Australia. But even just opening some windows, I guess, putting your bare feet on the ground. I got these really cool shoes called Earth Runners that have like a copper piece at the bottom and it runs through the laces. And right now it's too cold to wear, but I've been wearing them every day and it's been amazing. It feels so good. Next best thing, in my opinion, to putting your actual bare feet on the ground if you can. And just drinking lots of water. These very simple things that don't cost a lot of money, which is why they're not promoted in science or on TV. How to actually build your immune system naturally. About vitamins and minerals. Vitamins we get from fruit, minerals we get from vegetables. Having a healthy combination. Meditating, breathing in fresh air, all of these things, so simple. And it's crazy to me that that's no longer considered health in some circles. It's getting the shot, going to McDonald's, and I don't know, I guess that's it. Eating junk food and getting the shot, and that equals health now. But I think a lot of us know that that's not true. So that is my video for today. Please keep questioning everything. Don't just blindly follow anybody. Don't blindly follow me. Don't blindly follow the scientists or the news. Feel for yourself what the truth is and seek it. All right, until next time, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Till then, much love and light and peace to you guys. Bye for now.